been crushing on your best friend for so many years. So you find this one wish willow, and basically on the box it says, think carefully before making your wish. Once made, a wish cannot be reversed or repeated. So before you snap it in half, you wish for her to love you more than anyone else in the world. At first, it feels like a dream come true, like finally your crush likes you back. But then it becomes a terrifying nightmare, to the point where she becomes so obsessed over you that she starts murdering others just for you. Now this comes out in the movie Obsession, but the scary part is that this actually happens in real life. When people become so fixated over you, it becomes an obsession. Let's talk about Obsession, the movie, but also how it can actually be a true life story. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. This episode contains discussion of sensitive topics that may be distressing for some audiences. Please take care while listening, and if these topics are triggering for you, we encourage you to prioritize your well-being. Welcome to Taste of Tea Podcast. I'm Teresa, and in this podcast, we talk about true crime. So if you're interested in true crime, please subscribe, like, comment, and if you want to watch more about true crime, please watch my previous episodes. Okay. So this is going to be a big spoiler. I'm just going to let you know right now. Spoiler. Okay, if you haven't watched the movie Obsession, you need to go watch it now. Run to the movie theater. Because this movie is really good. Really good, but not also because of that. It's also because I'm about to tell you basically what happens in the movie. Okay? And I've already basically told you that in the intro. But I'm just letting you know, okay? Viewer discretion is advised. So in this movie Obsession, there is this character named Bear. Bear has been secretly in love with his long-time childhood friend, which her name is Nikki. He definitely lacks the courage to want to tell her that he has a crush on her. For whatever reason, he feels like maybe she doesn't feel the same. So he just doesn't have the courage to want to tell her. After a personal tragedy that happened to Bear, which was the death of his cat, it leaves him feeling lonely and desperate. So he goes to a crystal store and decides to buy a little gift for Nikki, maybe trying to find the courage or wanting to tell her, but in a more cute way, giving her a little gift. So he finds this little box that's called One Wish Willow. Now, he obviously doesn't think that this is real because it just seems like a little toy. Now, on this box, like I stated in the beginning, it does says, think carefully before making your wish. Once made, a wish cannot be reversed or repeated. Now, he doesn't think anything of it, okay? So he takes it and buys it and plans to give it to Nikki. Instead of giving it to Nikki, he ends up breaking it himself and making a wish.
I wish Nikki Freeman loved me more than anyone in the entire world.
Now he wishes for her to love him more than anyone else in the world. Obviously, everybody would want to wish that, right? For their crush, like to like you back. Because I mean, when I was he's a lot older in the movie, but whatever. When I was a kid, I would probably want to have something like that. Okay? I would want to make a wish to make my crush like me. Who wouldn't? But now I wouldn't. Okay? After watching this movie, you got to make sure to be careful what you wish for. Okay? But anyways, let me continue. So, he breaks this one wish willow and he makes that wish. And as soon as he makes the wish and as soon as he breaks it, it literally starts becoming true. So Nikki suddenly starts becoming intensely, passionately devoted to Bear. Obviously for Bear, it was like a dream come true. He finally has Nikki liking him back. And he finally gets the life he wanted with Nikki. But it quickly went from a dream come true to a nightmare. So she starts becoming very obsessive, very possessive and unhinged. And it starts becoming very horrifying. Like, she's in the corner staring at him while he sleeps, and he gets freaked out. So, you know how I said in the beginning that his cat died? Well, she decides to get him out of his little grave or wherever Bear put his cat to bury him. She takes him out, puts him on the ground in the kitchen, and does like this whole memorial, like grave thing. And she does it because she feels like, oh, it's gonna make him happy. But no, that's creepy. No, don't do that. That was a little too much. And he starts freaking out, and a lot of things starts happening, and it gets to the point where she does start murdering her friends, their friends, and yeah, it becomes a lot. It becomes a lot. She definitely does not act how she used to act, and it seems like something is within her, like something took over her, um, and he doesn't understand how. And also, he didn't believe that it was the one wish willow. He thought that it was actually coming out of her. Like she was actually just becoming very obsessed. And then he started realizing, oh, it's this one wish willow. What the heck did I do? He tries to call to reverse it, and he obviously cannot, because even on the box it says that you cannot reverse it or replace it. So he decides to buy another one wish willow, and he tries to get, before Nikki starts murdering everybody, he tries to get one of their friends to wish for this to not be true, or basically reverse the wish. And he does something so stupid, and he asks for $1 million, and he gets it because he didn't think it was true. He didn't think it was real. So he just wasted his one wish. Now he has, well, I think he bought like two. So now he takes the other one, tries to get Nikki to make a wish to kind of reverse the wish, but he doesn't know how. So what they tell him on the phone when he tries to reverse it, because he calls the people, the number on the box.
I just want to know if I can, like, alter it a little.
I'm sorry, we don't really do that.
And they tell him the only way for you to reverse the wish is if you basically die. And so that's kind of where he ended up. He thought that that was the only way, and that is basically the only way, unless somebody else reverses the wish, but there's nobody else left because all their friends are dead. And so he goes to the bathroom, ends up taking a whole bunch of pills, and tries to basically take his own life. And Nikki's freaking out outside, knocking on the door, saying, I love you, come back, you don't love me, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and so then he obviously starts rethinking about his actions and tries to throw up the pills that he just took. So he literally like took a whole bottle of pills, like chugged it. And as soon as he's trying to throw up, he's putting his fingers down his throat, and he's trying to throw up, and Nikki, you hear in the background, make a wish. Well, you don't hear her make the wish, but you hear her break the one wish willow. So she finds the one wish willow, and she realizes what it is and makes a wish. And this wish is for Bear to love her as much as she loves him. As soon as it snaps, he literally stops trying to make himself throw up, gets up, and goes to Nikki, and they have this romantic moment. But obviously he took these pills, so in Nikki's lap, he starts dying. And he dies. And Nikki snaps out of the wish and starts realizing everything that happened and everything that's around her and all the dead bodies of her friends and of her friends, and including Bear. And yeah, so the movie ends with her being free from the curse, but has to now face the horrific consequences of everything that happened. So like I said in the beginning, this kind of teaches you to be careful of what you wish for, okay? Because a lot of people do not realize when you make a wish, or let's say, okay, if you're religious and you're talking to God and you ask God for something, like you ask God for the strength for whatever it is, God's not going to give you the strength. He going to give you things for you to develop the strength. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. But he's not going to give it to you right away. Like, you have to be careful with what you ask for and ask it very, like, detailed orientated. Like, you need to add details, make sure that you know what you're asking for, okay? Because no. So it's just a lot, okay? In this movie, while you're watching it, you feel freaked out, you feel weird, and it just feels very awkward and feel uncomfortable while watching this movie, because seeing somebody so obsessed with another person is just terrifying. And then the way she's like obsessed over him, it's just not normal. Okay, it makes you feel very uncomfortable. And obsession can be a real thing. It can really ruin someone's life. Being obsessed over not just people, but obsessed over objects, over things, over anything. Anything, if you're too obsessed over something or really addicted to something, it could be bad. The fact that someone can be so obsessed to someone else is crazy, but it's just what happens. And there's real life stories that like this. The psychology of obsession towards another person is mostly common described through the concept of limerence. It is an intense, involuntary state of romantic infatuation and obsession characterized by intrusive thoughts, idolization, emotional highs and lows, and a desperate longing for reciprocation. The key factors or features of this term or of this psychological mindset is intrusive obsession thoughts. So you start replaying interactions and fantasize about a future together with this other person. And then you start analyzing every single sign of interest. So you start thinking, okay, do they like me? If they open the door for me, did they do that because they like me? Like, you start, like, I don't know, obsessing over these thoughts. Another thing is that there's extreme euphoria when you perceive reciprocation or anxiety at rejection or uncertainty. So these people that fall into this limerence type of act, they tend to kind of get excited when you're reciprocating the actions. So if you tell them, hey, I like your shoes, that to them is like, oh my God, they told me they love me and that I'm the only person in their world. Like, that's kind of how they interpret those things. But also, if you tell them that you don't like them or you're not interested, that can cause them a lot of anxiety and depression. And yeah, it goes on. Then they fall into idolization. So you focus intensely on the person's positive traits while downplaying or ignoring flaws. So you think this person is perfect. Basically, they put them on a pedestal. They idolize them in shorter terms. They also fall into this physical system. They have a racing heart, insomnia, loss of appetite, jitterness, similar to anxiety or early stage of addiction. They really get into this sort of lifestyle. They start becoming very, I don't know how to describe it. Like, they cannot think about anything else. That's all they think about is that person, whoever they're crushing on or loving or whatever it is. They only can think about them. And they either cannot sleep or they're not being able to eat and they have a lot of anxiety, and it's just like, it's becoming obsessive. Last thing is their behavioral changes. They start neglecting work friends, hobbies, compulsive checking of social media, alternating their behavior or appearance to impress them. A lot of people, whenever someone really likes someone, they start noticing the things that they like in another person. So they'll be like, oh, this person probably likes blonde hair. I'm gonna dye my hair blonde for that person to like me. Sometimes when you have a crush, you kind of feel that way. You kind of want to dress like their type. You kind of want to look like their type. You want to be their type because you like them and you're crushing on them and you want them to like you. But it becomes excessive. It becomes way too much when you're in this limerence personality or trait. So limerence typically thrives on uncertainty. So if they don't know, or if they have these mixed signals of not knowing if you feel the same for them, they kind of thrive on that. It kind of gives them like anxiety to want to keep trying or to want to have more, to want to keep doing more for you to like them, if that makes sense. But clear rejection will give them kind of clear mind, a clear mind to feel like, okay, well, they don't like me. Let me not even try. But some people do not stop there. Some people go further and it gets to the point where, yeah, it becomes bad, becomes real bad. Now, the reason why people fall into this type of mentality is because sometimes they have some sort of things that they need to fulfill within themselves that's happened to them as a child. There is this thing called attachment styles where you strongly are linked to anxious or disorganized attachment from childhood experiences of inconsistent caregiving, trauma, or emotional neglect. Obsession becomes a way to seek validation or security. When you have this attachment style, you feel like you cannot be away from this person that you feel attached to. It feels like this sort of feeling like you cannot live without them, and it's kind of hard to really understand that. And yeah, you can't get through it. It becomes an obsessive love disorder. It becomes intense, overwhelming fixation on another person. So this is like constant need for contact or reassurance from their partner, extreme jealousy or fear abandonment, controlling or possessive behavior, and difficulty focusing on anything outside of the relationship. You're basically not you anymore. Your life revolves around this person and only this person. That is kind of what happens, and that is the obsessive love disorder. Now, it's not technically a disorder that is like out there, that you can't be diagnosed with this, but that's what people have been calling it. When it becomes problematic, these are the signs that you need to look out for. So if you are getting in a relationship and these signs start coming up, I think it's time for you to talk to somebody, because these sort of things, it's not very uncommon. It happens a lot with people. In my previous episode, I think it was 2 episodes before this, but it was the Crash, the documentary that came out on Netflix, where we talk about Mackenzie and the fact that her relationship with Dom was very problematic, was very toxic, and it did seem like some sort of obsession. It felt like she could not leave, and she said that she'd done voodoo on him to never have him leave her and all this stuff. So these are the problems that we need to focus on when you're in a relationship. If you haven't watched that video, it's right here. But these are the problems that we have to focus on in a relationship, and really understand who you're getting in a relationship with, because it can affect you in the long run. Like, sadly for Dom, he ended up in a car crash with Mackenzie, and he had his life taken away. It was like some sort of murder suicide. Like, she cannot live without Dom, and Dom can't be with anybody else. The problems that show up could be like stalking or emotional exhaustion or damage to real relationships. So that could be friendship, that could be family, that could be friends. I already said friends, but that could be any type of relationship. Emotional exhaustion can be like you can literally they're calling you every single night, calling you multiple times, and you're just exhausted. You can't go to sleep. You can't do anything. Like you can't go out. You're just drained. That's the feelings that you get when it becomes problematic. And obviously stalking, if they're stalking you, that's definitely number one or big red flag. Now there are real life stories like this when it comes to obsession. There is this one story that involves John Hinckley Jr. and Jodie Foster in 1981. Now Hinckley became fixated on this actress, Jodie Foster, after watching The Taxi Driver, where she played a young prostitute. Now he ends up stalking her, sending her letters, and even moved near Yale, where she attended college at. And then he decides to impress her to attempt to assassinate President Ronald Reagan in 1981, wounding Ronald and others. So on March 30th, 1981, President Reagan was leaving the Hilton Hotel in Washington, D.C., where he had been talking to 5,000 members of the AFL-CIO when several shots were fired by Hinckley. One of the bullets ricocheted off of the limousine and struck him under the armpit. Now, Reagan's wounds weren't noticed until he started coughing up blood. So that's when people were like, oh shoot, he was shot. And they took him to the hospital. And after 12 days in the hospital, he was able to return back to the White House. So thankfully, he was only injured. And that was basically it for his injuries. Hinckley was found not guilty by reason of insanity and institutionalized for decades, later being released with no conditions. Why the heck would you release someone that is in this type of mindset? The case led to major changes in U.S. laws regarding insanity defenses and influenced stalking laws. It shows how obsession can lead to extreme violence against third parties, not just, the person that they're involving, but also others. There's another story of this girl named Carrie Farner. Now, Dave Krupa, I think that's how you say his last name. Dave started an online dating. Carrie Farner, who was a single mother, was one of the girls that he found on this dating app. And they started casually dating. Now, after a couple weeks of dating, Farner ends up disappearing after spending a night at Dave's house. Now, soon after, Dave and another woman that he was seeing, her name was Shauna Liz, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, started receiving thousands of threatening texts, emails, and messages that appeared to come from Carrie. These messages were obsessive, jealous, and extremely violent, leading to real-world harassment like vandalizing and arson. Liz's house was burned down, killing her pets. So they're starting to investigate this whole situation, and Carrie is supposedly behind it. And for 3 years, police believed that Carrie had gone on a stalking rampage, only to find out that Liz had murdered Carrie shortly after dating Dave out of extreme jealousy, kept her phone, and spent years impersonating her online to torment Dave and cover up the crime so Dave and her can get closer. Basically being the only girl in his life. So she becomes so obsessed because, she was dating Dave before he met Carrie. Now, he ends up letting go of Liz, just pushing her away. And Liz didn't like this. And she saw that he met this girl named Carrie and noticed that she had spent the night at his place. And she decides to kidnap Carrie and do what she had to do or wanted to do. Dave was thinking now, oh, Carrie was this obsessive girl. Let me stick with Liz because Liz was also being tormented by Carrie, which really wasn't Carrie, but was Liz. And she was doing this just because she wanted to get closer to him. And Dave finds sympathy over Liz. Now keep in mind, Liz's house was caught on fire. So Liz caught her own house on fire and killed her own pets. So that is freaking crazy. So when they find out Liz was arrested in 2016 and convicted of first-degree murder in 2017 and sentenced life in prison without parole, Carrie Farner's body has never been found to this day. Liz was so obsessed over Dave that she just wanted or decided to do this for whatever reason, because she was jealous, because Dave didn't want her. He wanted Carrie. But it's like, it's so crazy how people can get to this point. Now, another story, and this is the last story, is of Michael Peck and Claire Bernal. This was in 2005. Claire Bernal was a 22-year-old beauty consultant. She went on a few dates with the security guard, Michael Peck, when she ended it, making it clear she was not interested in him. Peck became intensely obsessed. He bombarded her with calls, texts, up to 50 plus a day, following her, showing up at her home and work, and making threats. Claire reported it to the police multiple times, and Peck was arrested, charged with harassment, and then released on bail with some conditions. I don't understand why they be releasing these men or these people, because it's not just men, it's women too. But like, what? Why? Anyways, while on bail on September 13th of 2005, he walked into Claire's work and shot her multiple times, including the back of her head and her face. He turned the gun on himself and decided to take his own life. Claire's mother later co-founded the charity Protection Against Stalking and successfully campaigned for stronger anti-stalking legislation. Now, this is crazy because if it gets to the point where you have to murder the other person, you need help. A lot of people nowadays really need help. And they just need to talk to somebody. Being obsessed over something, over someone, is not normal, and it's very, very toxic. And this is just something that we need to focus on, because a lot of people do go through this. A lot of people do become obsessed, and it just, like I said, it becomes toxic. It becomes to the point where the other person can't get away, can't leave, and they start getting tormented and start getting threats, and it's a lot. It's a lot on others, and I feel like a lot of people, we need to focus on this, and we really needed to, like, I feel like it all comes down with their mental health and really focusing on that in schools. Bullying is a big one. A lot of people that get bullied do fall into this trap as well, and it's very sad. But yeah, that's basically it. That is the movie Obsession, and how it could actually happen in real life. How this all is not just a movie, it's real. And it's really, really crazy and traumatic. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if there's anything else that you want me to talk about, please let me know in the comments. I have been receiving a lot of comments, a lot of subscribers. A lot of people have been subscribing, and a lot of people have been liking my videos and viewing my videos. I really appreciate that. And yeah, if you ever like want to comment or anything, or I'm always there replying. So yeah, but I really appreciate every one of you guys that have been watching and been subscribed and been supporting me. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye. Hello? Hey,
Hey, how you feeling?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I feel a little bit better.
Yeah, what you doing?
Right now I'm recording.
You're recording? Oh
Mm-hmm.
no. Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Alright, let me let you go so you can keep recording.
Okay, I'll be over there
Alright.
soon.
Okay, alright, bye 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 bye. I love you.
Bye, love you too.